Hello garden gals and guys, welcome back to the Fat Earth Backyard Farm. Okay, real talk, this is week 13 of No More Grocery Store. I'm not going to the farmer's market this week. This week I'm spending canning and preserving food to store up for the winter, because you remember my goal is to not only get away from the grocery stores, but to store up enough during the summer months so that I don't have to shop at the grocery store for anything other than sundries. So I have people say to me all the time that they're envious of what I do. Well, first of all, don't be envious, because I don't have a farm. I would love to have, about 5 acres. I could even be dangerous with 1 acre, but I have a small backyard. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I have a small backyard. I maximize my space. But in order to get through this challenge of no more grocery store, I have to depend on my local farmers markets to help me out. So I'm supporting my local farms via going to farmers markets, and I'm also keeping money in the community. But, I'm not one of those people that has a perfect kitchen. You can see my table is a mess because I'm in the middle of canning right now. You can see my counter is a mess because, again, I was in the middle of canning. I've got dishes in the sink from breakfast this morning and from chopping, from the stuff that I did. But, real talk, this is how a kitchen looks when you're preparing and storing for the winter. I clean it up every day, yes. But every day it gets wrecked again, and I'll clean it again. But I just wanted you to see it's real. It gets messy, but, the end result is worth it. So if you want to eat healthfully, but you don't have the time or the desire to garden, there are a lot of things you can do. This is the first year I've canned. I bought this canning book 3 years ago, and I bought this canner off Craigslist, the pressure canner, 3 years ago. But I was too scared to try it. I kept wanting someone else to show me. But this book is amazing, and you can get it on Amazon, you can get it at Home Depot, and it really gives you very detailed instructions for how to do water bath canning. It gives recipes. It gives, very detailed instructions, which that's the only thing that I will say to pay very close attention to when you're canning is the instructions. Follow them to the T, because when you're canning, things have to be sterile, measurements have to be made for spices, etc., because you're canning and you want things to turn out well. So this is a good book to have even if you're just curious about canning and don't want to can yet, because like I said, I had this for 3 years and I read through it and just would kind of get myself familiar with things. If you want to take a peek into my world of, of eating locally and seasonally, this is a good book. If you're not ready to make the commitment yet, this is a great book to read to see what that life is all about. It's Animal Vegetable Miracle by Barbara Kingsolver, and it's basically a year in her life where she and her family, they moved to a piece of land that they owned, and then they picked a couple of things that were their favorite things that they said that they would get from the grocery store. But everything else they either grew or they went to their farmers markets and they ate seasonally. And that really reconnects you back with the land. It's easy to go into a grocery store and get bananas or grapes or strawberries any time of the year. But really those things are seasonal. Like June really is, June and July, but mostly June is the season for strawberries. Blueberries and blackberries are kind of in season right now, but they're on their way out. And tomatoes are on their way in. Connecting yourself back with the land, even if you just read this to understand what the seasons are so that you're more appreciative of the things that you get from the grocery store and that they don't just magically grow there and that they come when you eat fresh fruits and veggies in the middle of winter from the grocery store. They're being trucked in from thousands of miles away. It kind of makes you more cognizant of what you're putting into your body and what's being done to bring you your food. If you want to see how vegetables and things have changed and how the nutrition has been stripped from them and how to get back to fruits and vegetables that will give you the nutrition that your grandparents and their parents used to get, this book is a wonderful book that my friend Lee gave to me called Eating on the Wild Side by Joe Robinson. Great book to read. She actually gives you tips and advice on how to pick the freshest fruits and vegetables with the most nutrients in them from your grocery store. Okay, so if you want to try canning because you want to gradually get yourself away from the grocery store. Go to your farmer's market and pick something that you like. For example, we do a lot of spaghetti sauce here. I don't like to buy it from the grocery store because it has high fructose corn syrup in it, which is not good for my husband because he has diabetes, and which is not good for you because it can give you diabetes. So I bought a bushel of tomatoes for 30 bucks, and I just made this yesterday. These are 4 quarts of spaghetti sauce. And I'm probably going to make about 20 more, but I'm going to do it over time because it is a lot of work to cut them up and get them all ready and prepared. But this is tomatoes I bought from a local farm. The garlic in here is from my garden. The parsley in here is from my garden. And the onions are from a local farm. Okay, this I did a few weeks ago. I actually put the date on here. This was June 13th when I canned these because I want to keep the dates on them because they're usually, things are good for a year or so. So I bought a bushel of green beans, again, from my local farmer's market back in June. Followed the instructions, cut them, canned them, and I have 20 quarts of these. So that's probably going to be enough green beans to get us through the whole winter because, you know, some of my kids just don't like green beans. Salsa, I just made this on the 13th of this month, so 2 days ago. Made 5 pints of this, or sorry, 6. I gave one to my neighbor. Again, this was made from the same batch of tomatoes that I made the sauce from. And everything is from the local farm. I made this batch of pickles yesterday, okay? And I'm making another batch right now. This is called water bath canning, which you can do with pickles. And you don't have to buy any special kind of canner. If you have a large pot that you can fill with water and get the water an inch or 2 over the top of the lids, it'll work. And I'm canning another batch of cucumbers to make pickles. So you can start small. You can start with something that you like. Buy it from the farmer's market, or if you're going to buy it from the grocery store, make sure it's organic. I really don't trust that organic label anyway because it's kind of propaganda. I'd rather talk to my farmers and know whether or not they use pesticides and how they grow their food. But start small, you know. Do a half bushel of tomatoes and make some salsa, or, you know, get a half bushel of green beans and can some green beans. Or if you love pickles, like my oldest son loves pickles, get some cucumbers. And I promise you, pickling is easy. It's very easy. So start small. Start where you are. If you want to eat healthily and you want to move away from the grocery store and you don't want a garden, like I said, or you don't have the space or you don't have the time, that's what your local farmers are there for. I could not do this journey without the help of other people growing things. It really is a sense of community because I just don't have the space to grow everything that I want to grow. So I'm depending on my local farms to grow things, and then I am in turn supporting them by giving them my money in exchange, getting goods from them and canning them. And so you can have the farm life. You can have the fresh fruits and vegetables without, you know, doing the growing yourself. So, you know, that's it. This is where I am. This is real talk. My kitchen gets messy every single day, and I clean it every single day because everything has to be sterile when you're canning. So all of this started off sterile when I started canning, and now it's a mess. But, you know, real talk, this is what it is. I got these, they're starting to turn a little red, but my mother likes green tomatoes, so I'm going to can some green tomatoes for her. He gave this bag away for like $4 because they were green tomatoes that accidentally got picked, and so he wanted to get rid of them. I got a bunch of peaches here, which I'm supposed to be canning, but I'm probably going to, my husband's been eating them for work, so I'm going to, you know, we're probably just going to stick with eating those. I got corn that we've been eating. I was going to can it, but, we just love corn too much, so we're just going to eat it. But real talk, things get messy, but it's worth it in the long run. Start small, investigate. I've given you some good resources here so that you can think about starting your own. Whatever you want to do, just, you know, find little ways to be healthy. And you're on your way. Every journey begins with a single step, right? So, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I gave you some good information. And Until next time, garden gals and guys, happy gardening.